Well, my initial involvement of Star Wars was when I was about 14 years old, and I went and saw Star Wars. Then, the following Halloween in 1977, my parents made me a Jawa costume. Then, the following summer, when Star Wars was re-released, I was hired by a local cinema in my hometown of Greeley, Colorado, to be a Jawa all summer. That was my start of Star Wars. Flash forward about 30 years, and they brought me in to audition for it. Dave Filoni knew me from working with him on Avatar, and so he knew me as an actor in a very different capacity. I auditioned for the role of the clones, and they arrived at me, and off we went on something that I had no idea where this voyage would go, and I certainly wouldn't have ever thought of to cast myself in a straight ahead soldier role. That wasn't the kind of stuff that I did, and it wasn't how I thought of myself. So it really opened up how I see what I can do, and I've been I just feel so very lucky to have this kind of creative challenge that is ongoing, and it's so fun and satisfying and fascinating. It's really cool. The main thing about keeping the characters distinct and the voices distinct is just to have a very clear idea of who these guys are and what the context of the scene that's playing out is. Fortunately, the writing, Jen Corbett and the team do a fantastic job with writing it and setting it all up. And so it's very clear who these guys are and what's playing out and how it needs to feel. And so we we get to dive into everything from action to heartfelt one to one to heartbreak to tragedy to loss to overcoming to everything with this whole range of emotion that you don't always get the luxury of in a fantasy based action show. But it's part of what's so satisfying about Star Wars is that all of this is it's so detailed and so beautifully laid out in both an epic as well as a personal way, that it's a lot easier than you might think to create these scenes that we read through straight through, just because the painting is mostly painted by the time I get to speaking the words. Well, the trick that I use is that if Wrecker is going to be yelling, I do that at the end of the session. That's my trick. Other than that, I can pretty much go through the script, and it's usually not too damaging. If we have a lot of like yelling and screaming and that kind of stuff, we may save a few of those lines for the end of the session, so that I still have enough gas in the tank vocally to get us all the way through the mission without too much hobbling around. But that's basically it. That's basically it. I'm old enough and experienced enough to know how not to damage my voice and what not to do. Earlier in my career, I don't think I would have known that, but now it's part of the art of doing something well is also avoiding things that work against you.